Hey everyone, it's Stock Picks by Tim, and I've got 5 stocks for you today to look into. And a few of these I haven't talked about in a while. Now let's get into this. First off, we've got Nanodimension or NNDM. Now before we look into the chart, I want to look over a couple of stats here that sparked my interest. Now first off, we've got a price to book of 0.6. Now a price to book of 1 indicates fair value, so we're right now at a 0.6. I think that's great, although the price to sales is sky high. But if you look over time, it is trending downward. So just keep an eye on that price to sales. Look for it to come down. Now hopping over to their balance sheet, they've got a great assets to liability, a 689 million to 22 million. They currently have relatively low debt with only 3.7 million in debt. These numbers are in thousands, so keep that in mind. And when you take a quick look at the chart, you'll notice that when we come to that $3 level, it's pretty quick to bounce. At one point we did reach 3 and then it just took off from there. Same thing here, reached around 3, started seeing higher lows, ran up, and I think this is going to be the same thing. It has been downtrending from about 360, but we are reaching this level. It's trying to pop. We'll see where it goes from here. I do think it's going to hold that $3 level. Looking at the MACD, it is curling and the RSI is coming upwards. Next up, I want to hop on over to Sphere 3D or ANY. Now this one is still expecting that merger with Gryphon Digital. It has just been a bit of a wait. Now they did say that they expect this in the beginning of 2022, and hopefully we'll get another update very soon. And when you go over to Gryphon Digital's Twitter, the most recent thing we have here is on February 3 about the new miner deal that 3D Sphere is working on with the purchasing power of up to 26 exahash of next generation mining rigs. But that is the most recent thing we have here. Haven't really had an update yet on the merger, so it's just been a waiting game lately. And of course, I'll leave you guys a link to this as well as some links to a bunch of crypto and stock rewards. But you'll notice here that we have about 33% of the shares sold short. So 33% is a pretty high short interest. You'll notice that this has been on quite the downtrend lately. We came down under $2 and it just started popping. We've got the RSI started coming up, although it is becoming more neutral, starting to come down, peter off a little bit. So we did have this point of support here. We'll see if we come back down. It's very likely we can come and test 190 again. We will see where it goes though. And if you are patient with this one, I believe it will pay out. That merger is still expected. Lately, the hype has just been gone in this one. And of course, with the market, no one's willing to take risks right now. And this is another thing that greatly hurts Sphere 3D. Next up, I want to get into senseonics here. Now I'll leave this link for you guys, but I just got one bit of detail out of this article here. So one thing to take note is the continuous glucose monitoring market, or CGM market, is expected to grow to 15 billion by 2026 from only about 5 billion in 2021. So currently we're a little over 5 billion in terms of market size, and that is a compound annual growth rate of 25% from 2021 to 2026. And I do think senseonics is going to demand some of that total addressable market. Now you'll notice that we have fallen considerably from our almost $4 price. Now we are hovering just under 2. But keep in mind, last time we broke under 2, we only stayed there for about 8 days before working on coming back. Okay, so I do think under $2, this is definitely worthy of averaging in, and I will continue to add. But if you want to be patient with this, you could potentially wait to see, the 170s possibly. It's definitely possible. I definitely like the technology that senseonics has, and I think it's a solid medical stock to own. Definitely worth averaging in. Next up is Workhorse. They finally gave their earnings call, and we did get some information there regarding their fleet. And we do have recent news that Workhorse is inking a deal with Green Power, and they're going to work together on the W750, which features 150 miles of electric range, a payload capacity of 5,000 pounds, and DC fast charging. And like the article said, this will provide a stopgap while they're waiting for their 2 new vehicles that they announced, and continuing to sell off their old C1000s. But they are going to be discontinuing the C1000s, and while they're selling their last of their C1000s, they will be selling these W750s with Green Power, and that will provide them a bridge of some revenue while they wait for their other 2 vehicles that are expected in the near future. And looking at the chart, we did break our ascending channel, only to come back towards it, break it again. I'd say we can definitely remove these. Now we did try to hit $4, but we quickly came back, so I think that's going to be our new resistance. Look for that $4 resistance level. If we can break 4, we're very likely to test some higher levels. But we did hit a low of roughly 275 before bouncing and going on a nice little run. Now we're at 373. So if you're patient on this, just wait for a little bit of a pullback, because it is going to be a waiting game with Workhorse, and I think you will definitely have opportunities from now until their next quarterly earnings and what their news with revenue through green power and the last of their C1000s will look like. So I think there will be a little bit of uncertainty continued in Workhorse through to the next quarter. I do think I can possibly get this in the low threes, but I am comfortable averaging in at this price. And finally, we have Sofi. And there's another one that just reported earnings, and they met their revenue guideline. They had $280 million in revenue, which is a 54% increase year over year. And according to this article, they give Sofi a $20 fair value estimate. So for those of you that purchased under 10, great job. Now, if it comes back under 10, I will be more than comfortable to add in a little more heavily, but I do think it's worthy of adding in at this price currently. And you'll notice right here, same thing, we barely broke 10 and it was very quick to come back. There are a lot of buy orders under 10, and this from a technical standpoint caused the MACD to just start curling and going on a run, and also the RSI came back from oversold. So keep an eye on Sofi. If it can pull back under 10, I do think it's a strong buy, but under roughly 15, I will still average in. And then anything over 15 might, take 10% profit along the way up. But that's basically it for you guys. Just a quick update. A couple stocks I haven't talked about in a while, but these are all definitely stocks that I think are worthy of looking into. But thanks as always, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe. I put out daily videos, and I'll see you next time.